Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. Chelsea news on a Friday. Chelsea are in another European final. We beat Djurgården last night 1-0 at Stamford Bridge, 5-1 on aggregate. Good result. Not the most entertaining, enthralling, exciting game of football that you're ever going to see. But there was some more big moments that we need to talk about today. I want to speak first of all about Josh Acheampong's interview after the game, because I think as much as this season has been very much up and down, I will say big credit to Enzo Maresca for the amount of debuts and minutes he's given to a lot of the young Cobham Academy players this season. And Josh Acheampong is very much one of those players who I think is on I'd say probably near the top of that tier of youngster that's coming through, because when you look at Reece James and the amount of minutes that he's been getting this season, lots of question marks about, are the club trying to see him out of the door? Malo Gusto's not quite been up to scratch. And if you watched Josh Acheampong last night, I think his performance was incredibly positive. I think he's very, very good at stepping out from the back. He's very good going forward. And this is what he had to say about Chelsea Football Club last night. I love this club, so as long as I can stay here my whole life, I will. Now, I know that there's a lot of times in football these days where words are said and then the following actions are basically make those words seem a bit pointless. And obviously, Josh Acheampong might say this, and it doesn't necessarily mean that Chelsea Football Club will have the same idea. Josh Acheampong, academy player, would represent pure profit for a sale. But I will say this, I think he's a class defender. I think he can play centre-back. I think he could play in central defensive midfield. I think he can obviously play right-back as well. So I think Chelsea need to protect Champong, because I think he absolutely deserves a lot more minutes than he's probably had this season. But again, credit to Enzo Maresca, because he is getting him minutes out there on the pitch. He gave 16-year-old Reggie Walsh a debut last night, which he played very, very well. And Maresca's saying how he's a perfect player for the way that he wants to play and all of this stuff. It's good to see that there is still a pathway this season. Genesis Antwi came on last night as well. Lots of players this season that Enzo Maresca has given minutes to. So as much as I will always give my opinion when things aren't going well, I also think credit needs to be given when credit is necessary. So well done. Chelsea into another final. But let's talk now about some transfer news. Tomorrow, we'll be doing the preview for the Newcastle game. This is the biggest game of the week, to be quite honest. But today, let's talk now about Axel Disasi. Aston Villa are aiming to strengthen at right-sided centre-back and potentially at right-back. Chelsea loanee Axel Disasi is unlikely to sign permanently. I don't want this to be a situation at Chelsea this summer where players that clearly aren't part of Maresca's plans, clearly aren't part of the club's plans, we need to try and offload these players as soon as possible. I want to bring you back the memories of when Jose Mourinho came back in, Diego Costa came in at Chelsea, Cesc Fabregas came in at Chelsea. Those summers where we get business done early, and whoever the manager is knows the squad that he's got to work with for the upcoming season. This is when Chelsea are at their best. This is when all Premier League clubs are at their best. When the manager knows what he's got to work with. We're in I don't know if it's a luxury or not a luxury, but we're in the Club World Cup this summer, which obviously, lucratively, it's a luxury. Is it going to be treated like a pre-season, or is this going to be an extension to the season? It's a tournament that we're going to want to win. But if Disasi has got no role at Chelsea, just because Aston Villa don't want him, we need to be trying to look for suitors for these players. Even the likes of Joao Felix. There's talk that Benfica might want to sign him back before the Club World Cup starts. So with Disasi, I don't want him to be one of those players that goes on this trip and takes minutes from someone like a Josh Acheampong, for example, or even a Genesis Antwi who came on last night. I thought he played excellently. I think he was direct, looked to take players on, beat players. So let's just, if it's not going to be Aston Villa, let's get rid of Disasi as soon as possible. I don't think he has a future at Chelsea Football Club. We move. Striker situation. All right, this is going to be the bulk of the conversation for the rest of this video. I don't know who you guys still consider to be like the top journalists. I think journalism in football has taken a bit of a downward turn, I would say, in recent times. I think, obviously, it doesn't help that you've got people like me that talk about any tweet and any piece of transfer news, but I'm not here to break the news. I'm here to basically give my thoughts and opinions on what could potentially be the truth or not the truth, and what do I think about it in context to what is going to happen for Chelsea. So David Ornstein, who in the past has been pretty good, pretty accurate when it comes to his talk about Chelsea and other transfers and other teams. So, on the strikers, the Chelsea hierarchy are targeting. Emegha has definitely been a consideration for some time, as have others like Liam Delap and Benjamin Sesko. When it comes to the striker conversation, you guys know I speak about him in every single bloody video. And I bring it back to what I said about the whole Disasi thing. If Aston Villa aren't going to sell Disasi this summer, with the Club World Cup being a tournament that Chelsea should absolutely be going across to America to try and win, not only because we're going to be there on GBFC following it, I'm absolutely buzzing for it, but also there's a lot of money to be won here. And I think the Club World Cup, a lot of people are like, well, I don't care about it. Why should we care about it? The football clubs that are competing are going to prove to you why people should care about this competition, because there is so much revenue that could possibly be made. Chelsea will get their business done, I'm hoping, before the Club World Cup, so that Maresca has got next season's squad and an opportunity to already get minutes for these players under their belts with each other. So I don't know if there's going to be like a pre-season after the Club World Cup, where we obviously get friendlies and a chance to see other players come in. But when it comes to these strikers, okay, Emegha is the striker at Strasbourg this season. He's having a very good year in terms of like a load of these like non-penalty goal XG stats and all of that stuff. Sometimes I like to go through the stats. I think they can facilitate a deeper conversation about certain players. But when it comes to the striker situation at Chelsea, I don't think we need to sign another player that needs time to develop. I don't think it's beneficial to Chelsea Football Club. When you look at this season, we're into a European final. We were very poor in the domestic competitions, but we could be on the verge of a Champions League spot in the Premier League. That's a good season. I know I've been very up and down this season, but it's because Chelsea have been up and down. That's the reality of what we've witnessed. We started very well. We had a huge drop-off, and we seem to be bringing it back here at the end of the season. And you guys know the names of the strikers that I think the club should be linked with. I think you've got different tiers. Alexander Isak is another dream striker. I'm not going to speak about Osimhen today because I don't want you to come back to every video and me say the same things. But Alexander Isak's another player that is in that elite category. And if Chelsea want to really develop, if Chelsea want to really evolve and go from a team that, yeah, might get Champions League football, but if you're looking at the Premier League and you're looking at how Liverpool ran away with it this year, how did Chelsea bridge that gap? And an elite goal scorer, an elite number 9, a target man, a finisher is absolutely something that would have taken us up a level. I don't want to sit here and speculate, well, if we would have had Victor Osimhen as a Chelsea striker this summer, where would we have finished in the league? It's difficult to say because it probably would have meant that we would have played a little bit different. Maybe we'd have played more to his strengths, but I'm certainly sure that a lot of the crosses that we've put in the box that have yielded no results this season, we certainly would have had more goals. So Liam Delap, Benjamin Sesko, these are players and names that just don't seem to be going away. But I think they are the kind of strikers that would need time the way that Nicholas Jackson has needed time. So I don't think Nicholas Jackson's a bad striker. I just don't think he's ready to lead the line and score 25 goals a year for Chelsea and make us title contenders. So for me, it is very simple. Bring in an elite striker this summer. This piece of news, I absolutely love this, and I know that this might be complete nonsense, but Chelsea exploring shock move to bring back Antonio Rudiger. Now, this is music to my ears if this is true. Toni Rudiger's 32 years old, Champions League winner with our football club. And at Real Madrid, he's currently in the doghouse because he's got a 6-game ban following those incredible scenes at the end of the Copa del Rey match in extra time against Barcelona. And there's been a lot of question marks about Rudiger. Militao's had a very long layout this season. They've got young centre-backs at Real Madrid that are coming through now. And I think Rudiger would actually be so perfect back at Chelsea. I don't know the kind of numbers that would need to be considered here to actually bring Rudiger back. But in terms of like elite leadership, in terms of, yes, he's 32 years old, but still, right, for a couple of years, whilst Chelsea do navigate what we're going to do when it comes to centre-back targets. We're obviously linked as well to Dean Howson, who's 19 years old. We do have young players. Acheampong signed a new contract. Whether he's going to be a centre-back, a right-back, or a CDM, who knows at this point. But we do absolutely need to invest in a defender this summer. And I think it would be very, very beneficial for Chelsea to look at someone like a Rudiger. This has kind of come out of absolutely nowhere. But the man is a serial winner. The man has got, like, in terms of people talk about his demeanour and his attitude, like, I think it's second to none. Yes, he can be a bit erratic. Yes, he can be a little bit crazy. Yes, what we saw in that Copa del Rey final, slightly embarrassing, to be honest, and he needs to keep a cap on it. But Chelsea, I think, need a little bit of this right now. And as much as discipline this season has not necessarily been a forte, a lot of the time we're talking about petulance from Chelsea players. And look, Rudiger is a leader that brings people together. We saw it when he was at Chelsea before. The circumstances in which he left Chelsea. He always said London will always be his home. And look, I love players that want to be at Chelsea Football Club. And if Rudiger's time at Real Madrid is going sour and he's available this summer, 32, it's not like he's 37. And I mean, we signed Thiago Silva when he was in his mid-30s. And look at what we got out of him. I see it being no different here for Rudiger. I think this would be absolutely unbelievable. What do you guys think about Rudiger coming back to Chelsea? Let me know in the comments down below. The final story of the day is another one that just doesn't seem to want to go away. Chelsea are big on trying to land Morgan Rogers. This summer, I don't think Morgan Rogers is the priority profile for what Chelsea need. But in terms of a player who I think in any given moment, right, Morgan Rogers this season in the Premier League has been almost unplayable at times for Aston Villa. I think when it comes to the turn of pace and the power that he can run and drive opposition defences with, I think Morgan Rogers is a phenomenal footballer. But at the same time, are we going to be seen in a situation here where it's going to lead to the exit of someone like a Cole Palmer? We've got Esteval coming in, who, by the way, I didn't speak about it again, but he scored another worldie from about 30 yards the other day. He's absolutely incredible. And let's see. Maybe we go and do a scouting mission in America this summer when he's playing for Palmeiras. I mean, like, would you guys like to see that? I'm sure you would. Smack a like on the video if you would. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We have got 3 Premier League games left. Newcastle away, Man United at home, and Nottingham Forest away for the end of this season, and a final, and then a Club World Cup. If this isn't the time to be subscribed to this channel, because I'm telling you, what's to come this summer, it's going to blow your mind. I promise you. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you all later. Come on, you Blues.